This is 2011. So good afternoon everyone, and let's make this in 10 minutes or so. I did this presentation last week when I was doing roadshow in Singapore and Malaysia. So I just bring in a whole set of PowerPoint that we do to the institutional investors we did with Malaysian and Singaporean. One of the things that I noticed that some of our presentation is pretty similar. So let's see. I'm not going to go through any of the economic fundamentals because it's very much the same, because we will have to go through the same thing. Okay, our lady friends here is talking about. But the catch is that we do talk about the fundamental of infrastructure spending, because the message that the Thai market is now telling our investors around. And let me go back to the first page a second. Read the theme. The theme now is on not only on the opportunity to invest in Thailand, but looking at Thailand from the Greater Mekong sub-region as a center of the surrounding area. We are selling this, that not only you look at Thailand, you're looking at Thailand as a trading for futures asset class around Thailand. The reason is because last year we came up with a ruling that we would allow setting up a holding company where majority of the assets is outside of Thailand. We are beginning to look at Thailand, not only Thailand, but Thailand as Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam and Myanmar. The two asset class will be added to our exchange in June or July timeframe. Will be a hydroelectric dam in Laos and a large industrial estate in Ho Chi Minh City nearby from Amata. One from Chanitr Group, CK Power, and one from Amata. So this is our selling point for our investors in the futures, that you are very comfortable in trading over 10 billion baht in Thai market. You're very comfortable with our clearing and settlement. You're very comfortable with our corporate governance practice and our disclosures, which we do every quarter. So if you are a foreign investor, you're very comfortable with that. Maybe we'll add more assets to our portfolio. New products that are coming on board. When I was in Malaysia and in Singapore, they're very excited in new products, just such as those coming in from Laos, from Vietnam. We are adding more Myanmar and Cambodia in the near futures. Also, we are adding infrastructure fund for the first time, which is right now they are selling it in subscriber for the BTS fund, but more of the infrastructure funds will be coming online. Same as our newer product will be coming on board, because we are not only looking at just normal domestic equity anymore. Okay? Dr. Kirida talked about the bubbles and talk about all the things. It's absolutely true. Okay, I will not go into much detail because my boss has been going on the newspaper, on media for the past 2-3 months, warning investors about very highly unusual trading on the very small cap stock. We have put in many different measures to warn investors, but again, when you do warn them, that there are companies who last year was the year before they were having profit and they turned negative and turned loss within a year. It's impossible for the share price to go up 100%. So be warned. So we do warn our investor retail quite often. I think my boss was not liked to the point where there are some retail investors actually put up a fan page of hate Charamporn. They do. For one day. Whenever we saw it and say, boy, Pinok, you are the first president who really got bombarded by the online social community. Why? Because we trading close to 2 billion US a day, highest in ASEAN. We'll tell you why, how we did it. But it's more than half is coming from our retail market, 25% coming from our foreign, and the rest coming from the local asset management and proprietary trading. So the retails do take half of it. And of course, half of that retails are now online. Our online growth is tremendous. We are increasing our internet trading more and more. As new investors are signing up, they are now more educated and doing their homework. They're not trading through the normal channels. They are using the internet to do the trading. Of course, when Kun Charamporn went on air for the last 2 months warning investors and caused a couple of drops in the market, he was not liked. So am I, but we will keep warning because we see this type of bubbles, but in the long run, our investors from Malaysia and Singapore are all amazed at our growth. For example, For the first time in December of last year, was the first December in 6 years, we had nothing. It was such a boring December in Thailand. It was so surprisingly boring that everybody focused on the business and on the profitability. No longer focusing on politics, no longer focusing on the flood. And of course, politics is very one key question we address during our roadshows. By far, every investors around this region look at Thailand as the most stable. My God, luckily we export our yellow and red to Malaysia. They're now fully taken it, so it's up to them. Before they show an election for the next 2 months, it will be very interesting to watch what happened. And of course, many of you would know what happened with the Zulu tribes and the Sabah. That's happening in the very influential and crucial state for the election, for the upcoming election in Malaysia. That's Sabah state. So if you don't, you would ask your Filipino friends or you ask your Malaysian friends. Because half of the headlines on the newspaper are not talking about business, are talking about how the conspiracy theory of the opposition party actually invite the Zulu tribes to come and invade Sabah. So they are now doing more politickings in Malaysia. You go to Singapore. The first page I read on the newspaper last Wednesday, 6 new general hospitals going to be built in 10 years. If you ride the BT of the MRT before 7:30 in the morning, we are thinking of giving you a free ride. Talking about populist economy or policies. So not only Thailand we are doing it, everyone else is copying us. I tell my Singaporean friends, say, guys, I was so surprised that from the very day I do my roadshow, actually you guys not doing anything better than us. You're actually following us. So from our politicking point of view, our Indonesian friends having their elections for the president next year. So SBY is not coming back, his 10 years is up. So let's see what's happening. So from the asset management, they're looking at us as a country. They love us. And the one key point, I never realized that I took it for granted. But when I went to this roadshow trip, and everywhere was surprised, was our corporate income tax. They were so focused on our flood, they didn't realize that we will have a 20% corporate income tax this year. That re-rating our profitability and will jump up our numbers even more. And many of our asset management in Singapore and Malaysia did not take notice of that. I was surprised. I thought they know. Because all of a sudden, my asset management friend in Malaysia say, you know what, Kun Chanit, you are more attractive than Malaysia now. You are more competitive because they have 25% corporate income tax and no way in sight for coming down. Singapore is 17. Of course, we are getting close there, but with 10 to 20%, that itself also will put our profitability on a better scale than our neighbor. Not 20 some odd billion US of profit, 10 or 12 billion US of cash dividend, not only to take another 3 to 4 billions of stock dividend that was issued last year, from last year profit. That's why our numbers was up. Of course, fundamentally, 80% of our listed company make profits. The other 20% don't, but the 80% paid out quite handsomely dividend for the past 2 to 3 years. And this including last year when the telecom sector paid out some huge extraordinary dividend almost every quarter because they screwed up on the 3G auction. So they were keeping cash on board. They have nowhere to go. Lesson learned, you give it back to the shareholders. So last year was a normal profit that came up and normal extraordinary dividends. That itself put us on a different level. And when I was telling our friends in Singapore and Malaysia is that this is what the Thai market, and this one, sorry, one click, here. Anyway, it skipped that page. Here. This is our quarterly. And this is, you know, since the capital control we have 6 years ago. So that's why I was just saying that we actually had a very good year last year where we have nothing happening in Thailand. So we hope another year. And this one will talk about the same as Dr. Kirida. See, as the baht going down from 41 to 30, the profit actually gone up. We used the similar correlation. Very good. So I was doing on the right track now. Because we were telling that even wages increase, doesn't matter, it's all about profitability. Efficiency, productivity, and profitability. Our listed firm, with their subsidiary, maybe about 5,000 to 6,000 companies, pays about 35 to 38% of the corporate income tax the government collects every year. We are significant. So, my logic to the revenue department is always that, you know, at 20% of corporate income tax, or even 15%, if you really do your job, my God, you can collect more for the countries. So this is always my challenge. I'm not like at the revenue department, because I always go there and asking for tax, for the tax reduction every year for listed company until we don't have to anymore. We believe we are on the right track. This is the profitability, and this particular page on the bottom, I don't know where the pointer is. I don't think they have a pointer, but it's at the end of it. That the 30%, 23%, and 20% corporate income tax. That's the one. So we did that. The one that surprised the most was our Malaysian investor, because it put them on a different scale when they look at Thailand. Dividend yield, price to earning ratio. Are we expensive? Maybe, but it's the profits. Many sectors is very expensive. We do talk about corporate governance. You can look at that, because we are now ranking third in our practice, in our disclosures, behind Singapore and Hong Kong. We have now bumped up, and this credits go to our former Secretary General, our former Minister of Finance, Kirida Bhaopichitr. He is a very heavy-handed regulator, and we appreciate his toughness in getting us back in action since the 1997 crisis. So we are now recognized by the fund management industry on our disclosures, and of course this is selling about the Thai going abroad, which co-in-line with the previous presentation on our foreign outgoing. And you know, this is what when you talk to foreign fund managers, you do talk about the MSCI and all that stuff that we put on a global portfolio. And this is talking about the retail investors that we are talking about, and which you already seen. 55% is our retail, 24%, 25% is our foreign fund managers, foreign investors, and the rest comes from the local asset management. And this is the page where we always compare with our neighboring. When I first do this presentation many years ago, we always below Singapore, way below Singapore, much more. I had one boss, one chairman, Kun Pakon Malakun. He was the first one who get the exchange up and running to where we are this year, by posing one very simple question to us many years ago. How many $1 billion in terms of market value and trading over $10 million does the Stock Exchange of Thailand has when compared to our neighboring ASEAN exchanges? During that time, Singapore has 23, Malaysia has 10, Malaysia has 8 Bursa, Indonesia has 7, Thailand has 10. That was the number. He started out pointing that we must do everything we can to improve free floats, liquidity, investor relations, market investabilities of all of our listed company, because he believed that we have the profitability and the stories to tell. Luckily, that very simple question put us on the right path to improve everything we have to do in-house to surpass our friends from Singapore. We are now 3 times of Malaysia, because half of the Malaysian market value is state-owned enterprise. I only have 20%. 14 companies out of my 600 companies are state-owned enterprise. I don't rely on government-linked company. It's all private industry, which we know for a fact we cannot rely on state-owned enterprise for the past 5 years since the fiasco of many fiasco we have. So we focus everything on building private industry. That number is now 33, Singapore is 27, Malaysia 11, Indonesia 8. So that particular chart is all it takes for us to focus on the Thai stocks market in the view of investors, because what they're looking for is looking for size and liquidity. And we have the profits and the stories. It's how we put everything up together. And we used to have problem with free floats. We have fixed that in many of the listed companies. You will start seeing many big companies gulping up the last 3 years, making their free float more attractive to foreign fund managers. So we work this together with our brokers, asset management company. So the exchange work it from the inside, looking at what we have. Actually, we drive up the price to earning ratio, the valuations, whereby we are attracting more new companies coming in on board. I really told my boss that this year, probably the first year in my working at the exchange for 8 years, I'll probably get my numbers by May. Oops, my thing just dropped. By May time frame. So, because we have the BTS growth, we have the 2 foreign assets from Laos and Vietnam will be coming in May and June. We have a huge sugar industry from Nakhon Sawan, very huge, not the largest one in Nakhon Sawan, humongous one. We have one more humongous one coming from Rayong. You know, all the liners you see on the pickup trucks, it belongs to one company who has a patent, and they produce to every truck built in the world. It's coming on board around the end of the year. This group, you know, the liner that they pump and put on the back of the pickup trucks. I'm having amazing list of new IPOs coming on board because all these guys waiting on the sideline for the last 5 years, 6 years. So they all decided last year that this is the time to go to the market, and the market is waiting for many of them. I'm opening up the airline industry now. Now that we get Air Asia coming in last year, we have Nok Air just filed, and Bangkok Airways will be on board sometimes in the next 3rd quarter as well. And Bangkok Airways will be an amazing one because they have cargoes, passengers, they have the complete things. You know, some other low cost will only have certain only passengers. So from our market point of view, we are very much in a attractive mode to attract new products. I'm not going to go through the index and the performance because it goes up and it goes down. Like this past 2 days, it has a correction. I actually welcome it. My boss been telling and been warning, and we say, you know, we are due for corrections. We've been saying that in the market for the last month or so. So it's a correction, but in the long run. Plus, you must understand this is a season of dividends. So many companies announce their ex-dividend date, which might coincide with the last 2 days. So they do drop by the nature of ex-dividend dates as well. Okay, this is my numbers on the performance of listed company, the top 50. I think I'll end my presentation that way because I have to run to Paul. You know that. So thank you very much ครับผมขอบคุณมากครับ